Hello, everybody, and welcome to the One Fear Per Year podcast, where we talk about walking through our fears and living our best, most amazing life. And I have a special guest on today, Vlad. Vlad, thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Janice. I'm really excited to have this conversation.
I am really excited too. Okay, before we go further, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
So, Vladimir Gendelman, I am the founder and CEO of Company Folders. We are an online print shop specializing in custom printed presentation folders, binders, and envelopes. And our true specialty is in the fact that we offer a tremendous amount of options. We have the largest selection of die cuts for folders, meaning all these different crazy designs that people can do. We already have die cuts for it, so people don't have to pay extra. We carry the largest amount of papers as a standard, largest amount of foil colors, and largest amount of print methods.
Oh my gosh, Vlad, we only have 20 minutes. What don't you do over there? No, I'm just kidding. I love that. I love how much you love your company and what a great job you all do. And tell everybody too where you and I met.
We met in the best city in the whole world, which is Detroit.
Detroit.
It was actually right around a year ago. I think it was in September of last year.
I think
And
you're right.
we were at this amazing speakers boot camp. And somehow, when everything was done, we just ended up going for a walk. And then I remember we grabbed the dinner and walked around more and then went our separate ways.
And tell everybody what you experienced, because this boot camp was very impactful in my life, because I stood up to give a speech, and I just want you to talk about what it is that you saw or experienced when I stood up on the stage to give this speech.
So I see this woman, because I have no clue who you are at the moment. I see this woman go on stage and start talking. And then you got really, really nervous. And you forgot what you're talking about. You got really, really scared, I would imagine. And then I remember you came down to your knees and you were saying, I'll get through it. I'll get through it. I can make it happen. And you did. And the really interesting thing about it is, if I was in your shoes, I would probably be embarrassed. Not probably. I would definitely be embarrassed. I would believe that everybody's judging me for it. I would believe that I look stupid, that people are going to make fun of me. But on the contrary, because fear and anxiety is such a normal human feeling, right? It just looked so real and it came across so authentic. And myself, and I know that others were just there with you working through this. And this was really powerful for all of us. It was incredible. And the one thing I actually learned from it is when you're doing something or you're going through something that is your regular human emotion, right? The only people who can judge you and make fun of you are the ones who never did anything themselves. And you wouldn't care about them anyways. But anybody who is somewhat accomplished person in whatever field, right, or whatever sphere, they will understand and they will feel closer to you because of that.
Absolutely, like such a relatable kind of,
Yeah.
you were saying, the feeling and the experience. And for me, I mean, trust me, I really years ago would have been very embarrassed and would have been like, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?" But I think at that point, which yeah, it was about a year ago, I was so into being authentic and still am and showing up in whatever is actually happening at that moment and being in the present moment with whatever it was, that it actually felt like a very spiritual kind of experience
Mm.
for me. And I never felt shame about it or embarrassment. And a lot of people did come up to me afterwards, and several women actually were like, "Thank you so much," because that's exactly how I feel. Like I'm just terrified to go up and speak on a stage. And I think part of the thing is just pushing through, building that courage muscle, and just not giving up. Like you said, you stay in the arena, the people that
Mhm.
keep doing the thing. So, how has fear shown up in your life?
Uh, Today, yesterday, 3 hours ago.
Let's
So,
say, well, here, I know this about you. I know that you lived in the former Soviet Union
yes.
and that it was a much different culture and space back then, that people had to wait in long lines just to get their basic needs met.
Mhm.
How was that time for you? Was there a lot of fear in that space?
So, everything you're thinking about right now, because it's the Soviet Union, you're thinking of it as an outsider, right? As American who's used to ways here, and you're trying to project what would it be like for you there. Obviously, I didn't have that experience, but fear was there all the time. I mean, first and foremost, I'm Jewish, right? And anti-Semitism is through the roof, or was through the roof in Soviet Union, and it's not, from what I understand, um, they're hiding it and stuff, but it might not be that different now either. Um, and and that manifested everywhere, like being in school, right? Like kids trying to mess with you because you're Jewish, like walking down the street, somebody might come up to you and decide that they can bully you around, or because there's five of them and they're older and you're younger, and um, all sorts of things like that. But at the same time, because it was part of regular life, you just don't think about it. It's just what it is. However, when you did ask me about how fear shows up in my life, for whatever reason, my mind went to uh, when I purchased the building that we're currently in for company folders. And I remember that it was a very interesting situation because, on one hand, I was like logically, right? I was realizing that it's a smart thing to do. Like, I talked to all these other people I know who own buildings, who are in real estate, and everybody said if you're buying a building as an owner occupier, right, and your company is there, like you cannot go wrong. And I showed my building to everybody before I bought it, and everybody said it's a great deal, great buy, great everything. And still, it because it's such a big commitment.
It's a building.
It's a whole building, exactly, with multiple air conditioners and furnaces and bunch of bathrooms and all this different. I have a urinal. I never had a urinal before of my own. That is really cool too. Um, so yeah, it was there was a lot of fear associated with it, and I just remember thinking to myself, I've done everything I could from the standpoint of I looked at a lot of spaces, right? I looked at both rent and buy, and buying definitely made more sense. Um, I showed it to everybody whose opinion in this particular matter is important to me. And I just figured I gotta trust the universe and go with it. And I did.
Here's what I got from that, Vlad. You researched, you asked people that you trust, and then you surrendered and trusted
Yes,
in the research and in the people, and then made that decision.
correct.
And when was this?
This was in 2016, so 9 years ago, nine
And
and a half years ago.
how has that been since?
Oh, the best thing I could have done for myself. The best thing. And it's the best thing for the company because we have, about more space than we needed, and we still have more space than we need. So therefore, it's very spacious, and I don't have to worry about, subleasing it to somebody else. We just enjoy the space. To the point where sometimes we have gatherings here, and we have this humongous room where we have game nights and whatever else. It's really cool.
That is so amazing because I have found that many times, like right on the other side of the fear, is just this beautiful outcome or something beautiful that maybe we can't project. We don't know what it's going to be. But even if it's that sense of just accomplishment and doing something that you were so scared of, that you feel this inner pride and love for yourself that you stepped through that fear and did it. But it's beautiful to lean in to the fear, to walk through it, and then to have a story like yours where you go, man, I'm so glad that I did this. Now, is there anything in the future? Because this is the One Fear Per Year podcast. So I like to think of something every year, more or less, where I can really push and grow myself. Is there something for you like that in the future where you're a little hesitant or scared to do something, but that you have that gut feeling that you really need to do it, walk through it?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of it.
Oh, really?
I'm hosting a um, I'm hosting an executive program in Singapore, and I've never done that before. Because it's an official podcast, I cannot put my true emotions to it because they're not polite words. But I'm really scared. But at the same time, it's going to be in January. But at the same time, I know I'm going to do an incredible job, and all these people will walk away with a lot of value.
See, I really like how you said that because we can simultaneously be really scared and then also know and tell ourselves and reframe it in a way of like, hey, this is maybe not fear, it's excitement. And you know what? I'm going to deliver value and I'm going to change people's lives or whatever the thing is. But our
Yeah,
internal voice is so powerful. So I love how you said both. It doesn't have to be either or, right?
exactly. So the voice is powerful, but also the actual words that we use. Because depending on how you phrase things, you you internalize it differently, you think of it differently, and you respond to it differently. And by the way, I'm sure you do know that anxiety and excitement is exactly the same feeling. Like the way we experience both is exactly the same. It's just which label we put on it really defines how we go forward with it.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about what you were saying right before then about the way we say it, the words we use. Dive into that a little bit more.
So the more descriptive you are to yourself, the more exact you are to yourself, and the more positive you are to yourself, the more likely, the easier it would be for you to to get over the fear. The fear still doesn't go away, right? But you know how in math sometimes you could really understand the problem if you could really read it properly. the answer is almost right there?
No, I've never had it.
Okay, so
But
in
I'm not a math person.
Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, he talks about Chinese students and how they're so much better at math than American students. And what it really comes down to is how they pronounce. I forgot what the thing called is when you have 3/5 or 4/7
Oh, fractions?
fractions. Yes. So here we say 3/5, right?
Yes.
In China, according to Malcolm Gladwell, they would actually say divide by 5 and take 3 out. Therefore, your understanding of it, like you don't even need to learn it. When you pronounce it, you already know what it is. Right?
Yeah.
So the same thing goes with when we talk to ourselves. If we properly explain it to ourselves and use positive words, that solves the problem in itself.
Oh, bam,
Or a lot
Vlad.
of it.
I didn't know you were going to come and drop so much brilliance on us. That's really good. I like that
Thank you.
analogy too. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, so with your business, um, how has fear also shown up? And is there anything else that you've done? Because it's a buying a building, having a business, being in charge, that responsibility of a lot of things and people. How have you learned to navigate that piece of it?
Well, trial and error, definitely. Um, Starting the business was really scary. Like I didn't sleep for I couldn't tell you how many nights because it's always these what if situations, right? And before I started the business, I was not nearly thinking the way I'm thinking right now, right? Because a lot of it is learned.
More negative at that time?
Yeah, the fear was taking over way more
Hmm.
because it was really hard for me to, like, somewhere deep inside, I knew I couldn't fail just because I'll stick it out no matter what. But at the same time, what if this happens? What if that happens? And this happens, and then something else, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was really scary. And in business, it shows up every time as well. Like, what if one of your suppliers messes up? What if one of your vendors messes up? What if uh, you misunderstand the customer, right? What if something else? Now, the beauty of that is you learn to mitigate or prevent all these things, right? To make sure that the customer, you will not misunderstand the customer. We have this whole document that people actually physically sign before we do their order, which spells everything out, shows it as a proof, and like you can't miss that, right? But once again, why do we have it? Because the fear of misunderstanding. Same thing goes for vendors. Everything is documented. Everything is, and it wasn't like that from the beginning, but over time, it just kind of gets there.
Absolutely. Like Judge Judy says, the person with the most documentation always wins. They can
Exactly.
like, yeah,
Exactly.
have it in writing, have the documentation.
Yeah.
So, last question, because this has flown by. You're such an amazing guest. I'm really, really glad that we could do this. And I
Thank you.
ask everybody this question, no right or wrong answer. In your mind, if there is an exact opposite word from the word fear, what would that opposite word be?
Love. Absolutely love.
And why do you say that? What's the thought process?
Because love cannot live with fear, and fear cannot live in love. Um, I would imagine some of your guests would say bravery, but you could be scared, push through it, and be brave at the same time. But you cannot be afraid and love at the same time. You cannot love and be afraid at the same time. That's why I said love.
That's so good. It's one or the other. We're living in a state of fear or we're living in a state of love. And in my experience, it's been a minute to minute, day to day choice because one day we could show up in a state of love and the next day, you know what, somebody cuts me off in traffic and I'm bam in the state of fear and rage. No. So that is really, really well said. Vlad, you're amazing. It's been so good to see you again. Thank you for your wisdom, for showing up in the world the way that you do. And everybody out there listening, go out there and truly live your best, your most authentic, your most brave, passionate life. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Janice.